relaxing times, make it Suntory time. Hello again, you're watching Whiskey Wednesday on Wasn't My Fault. I'm Nathan. This week it's a Suntory whiskey from Japan. This one is called Toki, which I believe is time, I think. Am I right? Look at my notes. Yeah. Time in Japanese. Okay, I don't know much Japanese. I wish I did, but it's not easy. Okay, this will not stand up very well, as you can see. It's a very thin bottle, very nice. So the whole intro, obviously, if you like Bill Murray movies, it's from the movie Lost in Translation, where his character is doing adverts for Suntory whiskey. Not this one, it's Hibiki, I think it was. I think that's right. A completely different and more expensive one. But this one I've been wanting to try because I'm a big fan of everything Japanese. So let's have a look. Now I believe that Japanese whiskey does have its roots in Scottish whiskey rather than Irish whiskey or American, because I believe the master distillers did, well, at least the original ones, did learn their craft in Scotland. So it should be similar to Scotch in some ways, with hopefully a little bit of difference to it as well. So as usual, 25ml standard shot. See, it is quite a light coloured whiskey, so I very much doubt there is any kind of colouring or anything else in there. So it looks nice. I do like the bottle. It's a nice shape, although a little bit thin, so I do worry, especially like over there, it's not going to stand up. So I'm going to have to put it to one side. So let's get on with it. What do we smell? A little bit of an alcohol note, not too overpowering, but a little bit. You can tell it's there. Some sweet tones to it as well. Not quite a sort of a honeyness to it, rather than like brown sugar that you get with bourbons and that sort of thing. More of a kind of honey smell. Slightly fruity. Not sure what sort of fruit, but not overly citrusy kind of fruit, not like cherry and sweet like that, but along the sort of citrusy line, maybe grapefruity, something like that, something quite sort of fresh, but not orange or lemon. Interesting. What does it taste like though? That's the important thing. That has got quite a range of flavours. Not a huge amount of like loads of flavours, but quite a nice sort of mixture. As it does have, it's definitely grapefruit I'm tasting in that, which is quite unusual. So a slight sweetness from, like I said, like the sort of honey flavour, but a slight sort of peppermint to it as well, which is a little bit strange. As it kind of eases away, it's very, yeah, kind of a honey kind of flavour just being left on the tongue. But a little bit, maybe white pepper, not black pepper, not really spiced pepper, the sort of thing you'd have in like a sweet and sour soup, something like that, that kind of spiciness to it. So I would say definitely white pepper type of thing. Yeah, it's grapefruit, I'm getting quite a bit. Apple crispness to it. That's quite interesting. I quite like that. It's a lot sweeter than I thought, but in a different way to some of the bourbons I've had. I quite like that. That's a nice sipping whiskey, as they say. A little bit of water. Don't let it mix too much. Some oils. Brings out the grapefruit. There's less alcohol smell to it. I believe it's only 40%, so it's not the strongest whiskey in the world. 43. Oh, it's a little bit stronger than I thought. That's probably account for the little bit of alcohol smell to it. That's completely gone. It is more sort of grapefruity, a little bit of honey. That's quite unusual. So it changed a little bit. It's not quite as sweet on the finish with the little bit of water. It's always a struggle to try and do this properly. Once again, I'll be doing it in all the different ways. So, of ice, Coke, coffee, and of course an old fashioned as well, just because I can, and why not, eh? So give everything a little bit of a stir so we can combine things a little bit. I want to give it all the chances it can to shine as best it can. Right, start with this. I can always go back to it. It loses pretty much everything in that. Maybe the ice has melted more than usual. Did I take longer? I'm not sure. Very alcohol forward. It has that alcohol sort of spiciness to it. Oakiness as well. It wasn't as much as that. That's probably some of the spice I was tasting that, but it's kind of the oakiness I'm getting now. Yeah, that brings out the oak spice and that kind of side of it. Strips away the kind of sweetness and a little bit of the grapefruit. The grapefruit is, it's weird. It's got the grapefruit kick at the end. You know how that kind of sour grapefruit can be? It's got that on the tongue at the end. Not so much the spice, but it's got the woodiness of it. That changes up quite a bit. I suppose that's actually a totally different drink. Not a huge amount going on. Once again, it's the little bit kind of grapefruitness I'm getting from it. No peppermint in that like there was in that. Strange. None in that. That is just kind of a grapefruity citrusiness to it, which I don't mind. I do prefer grapefruit to most other fruits, to be honest. I used to have grapefruit for breakfast quite often. It's been a while though, probably because I don't generally eat breakfast. Okay. Yeah, that changed. Okay, so the coffee has still got the bitterness of the coffee, but it has the different bitterness of like the grapefruit. If you notice that kind of sweet bitterness, the kind of bite, whereas coffee bitterness is quite dry and that sort of thing, and earthy. You get that, the undertones, but more initially you get the kind of grapefruit bitterness out of it, the kind of sweet, crisp bitterness, I suppose, whereas the coffee is kind of murky and muddy bitter, quite a deep bitterness. This is more of a kind of fresh bitterness that you get with grapefruit. That's quite unusual. It's quite nice. I don't know if I'd have it every day, but I don't tend to have coffee with whiskey every day. I just have coffee because I usually at work. But that's actually quite nice. Back to the original. Yeah, grapefruitness. That's leveled it back out a little bit. Less of the alcohol flavour to it, more of the grapefruit, not so much honey, a little bit of the peppermint, and a bit of white pepper. Interesting. Right, before we do the cocktail, right, I'm not going to go into the history of Suntory. If you want, I'll leave a link, as always, to a bit of information about it. Okay, tasting notes. Soft orchard fruits and thyme honey are joined by a helping of peppermint in the backdrop. I've got peppermint in the flavour, but not in the smell so much. Green apple on the palate leads along bright citrus notes from pink grapefruit. Bitter herbs, toasted almonds, and vanilla oak linger underneath. White pepper and ginger add spice. Maybe ginger. Maybe that's what's getting. I got most of that. I'm quite pleased. I got what other people. I'm not sure about the bitter herbs, and didn't really get toasted almonds out of it. And maybe the peppermint bit on the smell. Maybe I was smelling it more than tasting it. It's all quite subjective though. That is nice. Okay, I need some ice for the old fashioned. Okay, old fashioned time. I've really enjoyed this. I'm not a big fan of orange, but I really do like the citrus notes in this. I could just sit here and drink this. It's lovely. Different to the other ones I've had. Obviously last week I did the Maker's Mark, which is very cherry. This doesn't have any of this, it's just more of the alcohol flavour. It brings the different citrus notes, like the slight bitterness, the different bitterness of the grapefruit, can't think of the word. So it's quite nice. It's a little bit more refreshing, I think. It's not quite as heavy. Because the whiskey is a little bit lighter, it does make it a little bit different. It's really nice though. So it all depends on what mood you're in. Obviously, I prefer it neat all the time. With water, with ice, that kind of rounded it off. It changed the flavours a little bit, which was quite nice. I did enjoy that. It just made it more refreshing. I said more the apple crispness and that sort of thing came through. With Coke, it's okay. I don't think it really beats something like Jack Daniels. Has a lot stronger kind of flavour with it. With coffee, it was a little bit unusual, a little bit more bitter, but it's nice. But the old fashioned, it's lovely. So thanks a lot for joining me. Come again next week. I'm not sure what I may have. Maybe another scotch of some kind. You have to wait and see. See you then.